Hey guys, how are you all doing this lovely Monday? If you are in the southeast, then you're getting rained on, as you can probably hear it and see it. Just leaving Walmart, and I got this super cute rain jacket. I haven't had my own rain jacket in a really long time, and I had an umbrella, and I don't know where it went. I just had it one day, and then the next it's gone. It was a really big umbrella, so really bummed about that. But anyways, I bought me this really cute rain jacket. So if y'all are sleeping on Walmart, y'all need to get in there because they have really stepped up their game. You see it's got this animal print on the inside, this really cool yellow gold color. It's really cute. I'm really feeling it. Sorry, there was an incoming call. Actually, let me just sit here and hang out with y'all for a little bit. The rain is kind of calming down, but I just want to sit here and chat because if y'all are like me, then y'all followed the news, and we got some really devastating news late last night, early this morning, that indeed Gabby Petito's body was found in the Grand Teton National Park. Wow, guys, just incredibly sad. I think we all knew it, but for the parents of Gabby, we all kind of held out hope that maybe she was just way out there in the park and that she would have been found safe and sound. But that is not what happened. Incredibly tragic. And we all know that Brian has now been missing. And I'm going to use air quotes because we all know that he's not missing. We all know that his family harbored him in their house, kept him from the public, and probably in the middle of the night when everybody had gone home to get some rest before they came back at it the next day to shout at their house, yelling for him to come out and speak to police. He, in the middle of the night, probably, fled into this reserve down there in Florida. His parents are saying that they hadn't seen him since Tuesday. Now, he drove his car to this park. And we know that because his parents said that they went to the park to find him, and they found his car, and he had left a note in the car. I don't know what the note said. But then they said that they left the car there because they wanted to leave the car so that he could drive home. Well, when he didn't come back, like Thursday, I think that's what they said, they went back and got the car and brought it to their house. That's the first big no-no. Well, that's like the second big no-no. The first big no-no is the parents not turning him over to the police. Second big no-no was bringing this car back to their home, where they most likely cleaned it. Whatever was in it, they probably got rid of. And yeah, I mean, I get it. If you're a parent, you want to protect your child at all costs, regardless of what they've done. I'm not a parent, so I don't know how I would handle this situation if I knew that my child came back from a trip where they left with another person that was their significant other, and that person didn't come back with them. I don't know how I would handle that situation. Actually, no. I think I want to say that I have some pretty good morals and ethics, and I would get my child an attorney, and I would take them down to the police station. However, that's not what happened. And I bet that, like y'all, we're probably, this is just my opinion, my guess. This is an assumption. This is not based off any fact. But I think that you're not going to find Brian alive. I think that Brian went into the woods planning to commit suicide. Now, this could be completely wrong. He could get out there and, got scared and didn't go through with it. I think more often than not, people who commit suicide are suffering with deep depression, They are hopeless. They feel helpless. And they feel that death is a better outcome than living. Now, in this situation, whatever transpired out there in Wyoming with Gabby and whatever happened between them two, and she ended up dying, you know, I don't know if killing your significant other is enough to cause you so much distress that you would kill yourself. Now, I mean, I'm just speaking hypothetically here. If something were to happen between my husband and I, we've been together for 12 years. If we were fighting and something happened, and say we were in the same kind of situation out there in the mountains, and we were on a rock face, a cliff or whatever, and we were fighting, and I just happened to push him and he fell over the cliff and I killed him, I'm sorry, 100% I'd probably jump off, because my husband is the love of my life, been together for 12 years, but this is a different situation. These two have been dating for 2 years. And yes, it's a committed relationship, but 2 years, you're 22 and 23 years old, you're very young. So me thinking that he would commit suicide, I mean, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Does he think that he can run? Because we all learned how that goes. I mean, the cops are going to find you. And you know, so your chances of running and getting away with it, slim chances. Killing yourself in this situation, he might have, but I also think that he's a coward. That's why he didn't speak up. So I think that maybe he'd be too afraid to kill himself. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts going on. I'm just, you know, I'm ready to hear some answers. I bet Gabby's family is ready to hear some answers. The parents at this point of Brian Laundrie, they need to come forward. If they have any sense of respect for the family of Gabby Petito, they need to come forward. They need to talk to the police and tell them what they know. What did your son tell you? Right? I mean, that's just... You know, and for them to wait all the way until Friday to come and tell the police that our son is missing, no. Because that's another thing that makes me think that this is all a game to them. Okay, we're going to say that we haven't seen Brian since Tuesday in hopes that gives Brian enough time to flee to wherever he's going to flee to. Because Brian probably wouldn't want to tell his parents where he's going, just so his family could be held culpable to his mistakes, right? Is that even a word? I think so. Held accountable for his mistakes? Right. Something like that. Yeah, but, you know, I'm gonna come out here and but I am back home, and I'm going to try to pick up where I left off. But first, I want to show you this rain jacket a little bit better. So, this is the jacket. As you can see, it has the animal print all on the inside. It has the tie waist at the side to cinch it in a little bit better. Let's see. So, like this. It's really cute. The back is a little bit longer, so it covers your butt. Because you know how rain jackets are. Like, when it's raining hard and water is dripping off the jacket, if the jacket is not long enough, it makes your shorts wet or your pants wet. Yeah, but anyways, from Walmart, it was $21.79, I think. I really like it. And I like the fact that these cinchers, they don't cross. It's not a tie. So you literally just cinch it on either side, and it's hella cute. And I got this in a size small. And for reference, I am 5'3", 136 pounds. And I wear a size 2-4 in the shorts and a small top. Okay, so back to where I left off, about the parents being held accountable. So, and where did I go? Brian, who knows? You know, honestly, do we really know? I mean, let's throw out some scenarios. One, he did go into the woods and he is hiding out and he's camping and trying to, you know, live off the land. Two, he went out to the woods to commit suicide. Okay, I hear there's some bodies of water out there. So, you know, I don't know if he had a gun. If he did have a gun, you know, my thought is he would wade out into the water, you know, and do it like that. Scenario number 3 is this was all a plan between him and his parents. Drop his car off out there, pretend that he's out there in the woods, and in all reality, he's fled. And I'm sure between the FBI and the police out there in Florida, they have already checked airlines, especially after finding Gabby's body. They're probably going to be looking for buses. They're going to be looking for car rentals. They're going to be looking for flight manifests. They're going to be looking for, so down there in Florida, maybe boats something of that nature. But they're going to be looking at all avenues of how he could flee. And if he has used one of these avenues to leave and go somewhere else, there will be a trail to find him. And especially that nowadays there's so much CCTV. There's not a chance that he's going to get outside of city limits without being seen on some camera. Now, hopefully, it'd be really awesome if one of the neighbors had a Ring doorbell system or some kind of security system on their home. And most likely, one of the neighbors did. Hopefully, they pulled their camera footage and given it over to the police. And who knows, there could already be an update, and I just haven't seen it yet because my phone died. I was in the Walmart shopping, but anyways, I digress. I just wanted to also talk about something. I was, talking to my husband about this last night, and, there's so many young people, and not just young people, but I'm going to use young people as an example right now, who don't know how to handle their emotions. And I'm not going to say that I wasn't the exact same way when I was 21, 22, 23, 24, probably all the way up until I was 30. I mean, I really didn't know how to handle my anger in a constructive way, like having a constructive outlet for me, for my emotions. And, and we all saw the camera footage from the police stop, and we saw the state that Gabby was in when they were pulled over. She was crying, and throughout the whole time, she couldn't stop crying. And I'm not knocking her because she's a young woman who, obviously she has a dream. She had a dream of starting this travel vlog and her blog, and she felt that her boyfriend Brian didn't support her, and a good significant other will support you no matter what you do. Now, also the job of a significant other is to bring you, the other person back to reality if something is too far-fetched. Now, we have to remember, again, this couple is very, very young, okay? And when you're this young, you're love, they're 2 years into their relationship, you're still at 2 years, you're still kind of in this young, deep, passionate love, which also means that your fights can be pretty intense. I remember some of the fights my husband and I had in our early stages of our relationship. They were intense. They were, wow, intense. And I have to say that they kind of mimicked what I could see from the relationship between Brian and Gabby, where it seemed that Brian, when the fights got going, he wanted to leave. He wanted to just get away, calm down, relax, because he couldn't take it. And Gabby, she wanted to just keep talking about it. That's the typical woman. We want to talk about it. Even if we're crying and screaming, we hate when our partner wants to leave. And that was the way my relationship was early on with my husband. We'd be fighting. He would want to leave. I want him to stay. Let's talk about it. And I've learned now that my husband, he was right. He was right to break away. Get that space to where we both can calm down, get collected in our thoughts, and then come back later and have a good, discussion about whatever happened. Which brings me to this idea, and it also stems back to something that I heard so much over 2020, is that we need to have, so police officers don't know how to handle domestic violence situations, or, domestic abuse, or, mental health cases, and that we should have social workers going to some of these calls, which I think is absolutely absurd, because social workers, they aren't trained the way police officers are trained to handle a violent situation. And as we saw in the body cam footage, the police handled the situation between Gabby and Brian really well, really respectful, and it was really awesome to see. It's just sad the outcome. But back to what I was saying. In school, growing up as young kids, middle schoolers, high schoolers, you're taught basic stuff: English, science, math, history. You even have an art class. You even have foreign language. You have gym class. How come there's not a class teaching young people how to have healthy relationships? Why? Is that not important? Do we think that it's not important to teach young kids how to go out into the world and have interactions with other people that is healthy, productive, safe? Right? I mean, I know that we want parents to teach their children these type of things, but if there's a dedicated class taught by social workers who are trained in conflict resolution, like police officers, but they know how to, especially social workers who deal with children, and most of them do, teaching young people how to handle certain situations without it escalating to something that is tragic, like what happened with Gabby and Brian. And this could be crazy. You might be looking at me like, Emily, that's crazy. We would never have social workers teach a class like this, or even teachers teach a class on how to have healthy relationships. But I think we've seen, as time has gone on, the more murders we're having, the more assaults we're having, the more just violent crime. I mean, really violent crime. What makes a person act the way they do? What makes one person in a certain situation say, hey, let's be calm, let's talk about it, versus the other person who, boom, grabs a knife and stabs somebody? What is different about the two? Did one of them have a parent who taught them how to handle their emotions? Did the other one not have a parent who cared about them? So if we say half of the children in school these days have a parent who cares, and the other half has a parent who's not home, either they're a single parent and they're working 2 jobs to make ends meet, or their parents are just not good parents and they don't care. Is that enough to say that, hey, maybe there's a need for a class that's going to help our future children to work through tough situations? Is it not worth it to say that maybe it's time we start focusing on some real world shit so we prepare our kids to go out into the world? Half of the 18-year-olds I see today aren't ready to go out into the real world. There's some real shit happening out here that our 18-year-olds who we expect to go to college and live in dorms by themselves, they're not ready. They're not ready for it. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. I was driving to the gym a couple of years ago. It was 3:30 in the morning. I live in a college town. College of Charleston is the big college where I live in Charleston, South Carolina. And, you know, it's known as, the city of Charleston is known as a party city for the college kids. And I was coming down the bridge onto our crosstown, which is the main road that goes through our downtown area. And I see it. It was so shocking to me that I didn't know if I actually saw it. But it was a girl sitting on the sidewalk with her back facing the road. And there was this man walking up to her. He was about, I would say, about 40 feet away from her. And my initial thought was, holy shit, stop the vehicle, Emily, run to that girl. And I was able to stop in the middle of the road because it's 3:30 in the morning. There's no cars out. I threw my truck in reverse. I backed up as fast as possible, got out, and ran over to her right as this man was approaching her. I'm talking about a big, grown man walking up to this girl. She was like 19 years old. I mean, just a young girl. And she was wearing, looked like she'd probably been out clubbing with her girlfriends. I mean, holy crap. And I got up to her and I told the guy to back off. I got her. And I helped her up. She was crying. She was so drunk. And I got her in my truck. And luckily, I was able to find where she was staying. That right there, guys. I don't know what would have happened had I not been there right at the right time. What would this man have done to her? What? And the story with the girl was she went out with her friends. Somehow her and her friends got separated and she was all by herself. She's not even from here. She doesn't go to school here. She was on spring break visiting with one of her friends here at her friend's college. This could have turned into a bad situation because our kids are not ready for what's out there in the real world. There are some bad people out there. So, why can't we start having a mandatory class starting in high school teaching kids how to navigate the world, real world situations, real world scenarios, and handle their emotions and have successful, healthy relationships? It's just a thought. It's really, really traumatic what happened to Gabby. And her parents, they'll never be the same again. For Gabby's father, it's my understanding, that was his only child. She's gone. And I don't know about Gabby's siblings. I don't know if they're with her stepfather. But her siblings now lost their sister. The mom lost a daughter. Her friends lost a friend. It's a snowball. The death of Gabby has a chain reaction. And people's lives have been changed forever. So, I really hope and pray that Brian's family comes out and does the right thing. It's time for them to stand up and be brave and go into the police station and tell them everything that they know. There's no more protecting your child when it comes to murder. I don't care, I don't even have to know. I don't have to know the actual facts of whether it's a homicide or not. You went out there with your significant other, your fiance, supposedly the woman you love, on a trip across country, and you come back without her and her vehicle. I don't care. That to me is homicide. I mean, you could get mad at me in the comments and you could say, Emily, that's what's wrong with the world. No, I'm sorry. If I was a parent, you went out with my daughter and you didn't bring her back with you and she's found dead, that's homicide. I don't care. Anyways. Part of me is thankful that I'm not a parent. I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable letting my child go out into the world. Can we prepare our children enough for what is actually out there? I mean, there's some bad people out there. Really just bad people. My husband is a police officer. My husband is on the Violent Fugitive Task Force for the United States Marshals. This is what he does. He hunts down really bad people. Horrible people. I see it firsthand through him. I see what the bad people, what they do, how it affects my husband when he catches them. It's made my husband so hyper vigilant. Because while the rest of the world who's not related or married to a law enforcement officer, it's like they're in their own bubble, like, oh, this would never happen. Y'all, this shit is real. There's some really bad people out there, and it's just crazy. It's crazy to think of what some people can do, the violence that they have in them. It's like their whole inside is just black with just death and destruction and mayhem, and they don't care for any life. None. They only care about themselves. And these people really do exist. So if you are a parent and your children are of a certain age, I pray that you are teaching them how to have healthy relationships. I hope you're teaching them how to argue in a healthy way, how to resolve conflict in a really healthy way. Teach your children, prepare your children for the real world. Math, science, social studies, English, art, gym. None of that matters if your child can't go into the world and be safe. None of it would matter. Math, being able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, none of that matters if your kid is going to go out into the world and be killed by somebody. So let's start teaching our children how to actually go out and live in today's society. In today's society, our children need to be prepared for what's really out there. Maybe a healthy bit of fear is good. Now, we don't need to be terrified everywhere we go, but a healthy amount of fear will keep people safe. And that goes for you adults. If you are having these crazy arguments with your significant other and if they're getting worse and worse, maybe it's time to reevaluate the relationship. And I know it's hard. You can be in love and you love somebody, but sometimes people just aren't compatible. So if you're in a relationship that you're having daily arguments and it's not getting better, it's time to leave. Walk away before something really bad happens. Alright guys, so that's all I have to say. To Gabby's family, I am praying for you all. I'm so incredibly sorry for what happened to your daughter. To Brian Laundrie's family, it's time to go to the police station and start talking. Tell them everything you know. And I too am incredibly sorry for you. And yeah, that's all I have. Alright everybody, I hope you have a good Monday evening, and hopefully we have some good news later this week. Alright guys, bye.